This is She Creates Business, a podcast for wedding pros. Your host, Kinsey Roberts, interviews incredible women in the wedding industry who are making their mark and creating success on their terms. Join the conversation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 181 of She Creates Business, a podcast for wedding pros. Thank you for joining me in today's episode. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. This is a show for women entrepreneurs in the wedding space, although we have a few men out there, so shout out to you. But we talk a lot about growing our businesses, particularly when it comes to marketing, social media, sustainability, diversifying revenue, and that will all be a huge focus for us in 2021. And if you are my longtime listener, we are almost 5 years old. My goodness, I cannot believe it. Do you know that 2021 will be 5 years of She Creates Business in September? It's insane. I can't believe it. It feels like yesterday, and sometimes it feels like 100 years ago. But anyway, regardless of where you're coming to us from, you are welcome here, and I'm very happy to have you here. So the title of today's episode is 2021 Trends in Marketing as it relates to the wedding industry. When I get into a new year, a lot of the articles and blog posts and podcasts that I love to read, they bring me so much excitement, are articles from really reputable, respectable sources like HubSpot and Social Media Today and Social Media Examiner. I love to know what those companies are thinking when it comes to marketing trends. I rarely ever look inside of the wedding industry at other people when it comes to trends and what's happening. And the reason is because what I have found being in the wedding industry for the last 5 years and being a marketing professional for the last 11 years is that the wedding industry kind of gets a trickle down outside of our industry. We take a lot from tech and other companies, and then we kind of bring it into our space. We're not usually on the forefront of marketing initiatives. And so what I like to do is look outside of our industry and see what people who I really respect and admire and who are just, way smarter than me, what they're doing in marketing and seeing how we can apply that to the wedding industry. So I have looked at 3 places that I think are really valuable. One is HubSpot, and you can find them at HubSpot.com. The other one is called Social Media Today. You can call them at socialmediatoday.com or find them, not call them. And then the last one is NetHunt.com. I love their blog. They are a CRM system. They have a great blog. So just wanted to share some trends with you that these folks are predicting for 2021 and how I think, in my opinion, we can apply them to the wedding industry. And the first one, in an article that NetHunt published on December 29th of 2020, 8 experts share their hottest content marketing tips for 2021. And I will link to all of these articles in the show notes so that you can go find the original sources that I am sharing from. NetHunt's number 1 prediction, and these are not in any particular order, but it was number 1 on their list of the hottest content marketing trends in 2021 that will continue, is repurposing content. And when I saw that as number 1, I was super excited because, I've talked about that a lot. I feel like it's such a valuable activity, especially for wedding pros, because we have such an interesting life cycle in our businesses. I know 2020 was complete chaos and it was totally different, but I'm just going to talk about a normal year, right? A quote unquote normal year. I'm going to talk about a typical year. So if I don't keep mentioning 2020, you know why. But in a typical year, we have such an interesting life cycle where we have engagement season, we have booking season, then we have wedding and wedding attending season, and then we're back to engagement season. And so we have these really hugely busy pockets of time in our life cycle marketing that repurposing content for me when it comes to the wedding industry is just a no-brainer. I think it's so important that our content is really going the extra mile for us and that we're not trying to reinvent the wheel every single day of the week. I believe if you create one pillar evergreen long form piece of content, that one pillar long form evergreen piece of content should last you for a full 7 days. And so ostensibly you're only creating 4 pieces of content per month that are long, like I say, long form, pretty big, take you a decent amount of time, not a crazy amount of time. You can batch all of that, of course, but then you are taking that one piece of content and you're using it threading it throughout the rest of your business, wherever you find your target market, wherever your target market is living, wherever they're converting from, wherever they're paying you from. If that is social media for you, that's social media for you. If that's Pinterest for you, that's Pinterest for you. If it's YouTube, if it's podcasting, if it is, being more focused on search engine marketing because you get all of your leads from search, then that's what it is for you. So how can you create more of the conversational type of content that people are searching for? So number one trend from NetHunt.com, or one of the 8 trends, number one on their list is repurposing content. And in the content creation bundle on my website, you can find that at shecreatesbusinesspodcast.com. That has 3 examples of creating content and then repurposing it. It gives you 3 step-by-step roadmaps for how you can create content in a really meaningful way. And then more importantly, how you can repurpose that content in a really thoughtful way. And that's the content creation bundle. But I wanted to, because I want to share my point here, let me pull out one of those examples directly from the content creation bundle to share with you. And then this actually ties in nicely to one of the marketing trends that HubSpot.com shared as well. So in this example, in that content creation bundle, one of the products is the 365 content topic ideas, right? And one of those ideas is a pillar long form piece of content titled 5 date night ideas for couples who need a break from wedding planning. And if we are to take that, let's say we're going to take that topic, I'm going to give you 5 ideas for repurposing that content. Let's say you write a blog post, and I'm going to say blog post because it's a great place to start. Why not? The written word is still valuable. So let's say you write a blog post titled 5 date night ideas for couples who need a break from wedding planning. How can you repurpose that content in 2021? So first, you can take your audience on a tour of your city and take them to these 5 date night options you are mentioning. This has a 2-way benefit. Number one, you are creating a conversation with your couples and you are taking them to places that they can see, they can do, they can hear, they can, it's a multifaceted experience for them as humans. When they're getting married, they can also introduce it to their guests, to their family, things of that nature, whether they're local or not. If they're local, great. Of course, they can experience these anytime. If they're not local, these are things they could still take advantage of when they come into town for the wedding, right? So don't be afraid that, oh, not all of my couples are local. Well, they will be, quote, local at one point or another. Yeah. And so the second benefit that this has is that you are benefiting local businesses in your area. And if 2020 taught us anything, it's that supporting our local community and our local businesses is hugely important. And I don't think that that's a trend that's going to pass with COVID. You know what I mean? I think people are going to remember what it felt like to support and be supported by other local businesses and make that a priority. So take a tour of your city, give your audience a tour of those 5 date night ideas while you are simultaneously supporting businesses. Then you have 2 pieces of content. You have the blog post itself, 5 date night ideas for couples who need a break from wedding planning. Now you have the video tour of your city, sharing the spots that you love in your town. Now listen, we are on lockdown as I record this. Things are probably closed, but like I said, I'm not going to keep mentioning 2020. I know it's a crazy year. Please understand that I really do understand that, but I want to give you as much marketing value in this episode as possible. So do it when you can. Yeah. Okay. Or, make the pivot and make a video, but you don't have to actually go to those places. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. You can use your brain. Here we go. So then the number 3 piece of content you can create is a series out of this one blog post. So once per week for 5 weeks or 4 weeks in a month, share a date night activity in your area via your blog or Facebook. So you've created this one pillar piece of content, but now you can pull that and share those every single week on Facebook or on a different medium. You can share your favorite thing about this one date night, ideas for how their couple can do it in their own location. Remember, I talked to you about those out of town couples if you really want to hit them. And remind your audience in each post that it's part of a series to keep them coming back. When your audience knows what to expect from you when it comes to what you're publishing, they will come back because you are creating a habit. You become their habit. The fourth piece of content is to do an interview. Remember, I mentioned that you're talking about 5 businesses and hopefully local businesses to your area, or even if they're not local to your area. I know there's some really cool like date night subscription boxes. That would be an awesome one to put on the list. See if you can get in touch with somebody from the business, from the company, and do an interview with them. When people have the opportunity to talk about themselves and or their business, it's very easy to get a yes. This podcast is proof of that. When I started, and still, I am nobody, you guys. And I get yeses all the time because I enjoy highlighting other businesses and they enjoy talking about themselves. So if you're going to be doing something like this, don't be afraid to ask for the interview. People will give it to you. And that's human interest. We all like to hear what other folks are doing, even if that's not directly related to us. If we're the couple, we still want to know what other folks are doing. Human interest stories will always perform well. So that's your fourth piece of content. Do you see how this is working? Your fifth piece of content is you could host a giveaway. Giveaways are fun, especially right now. It is a great way to cheer people up. It's a great way to spread some positive energy and love. You could do a giveaway to one of the 5 date night locations or companies that you highlighted. Let's say you did choose one of those date night subscription boxes that ship you the box and then you have like a date night in your home or whatever it is. You could do a quick digital gift certificate to that company. I think that that's a great way to bring more people back to your blog post or your pillar piece of content or all of the other 5 pieces of content you've created. And again, it's very likely if you send it to them that the company or business you pick will share it for you. So make sure you make that very easy for them. Send them a digital asset and say, you are part of a giveaway today. If you'd like to share about it with your audience, here's a digital asset for you, which is just a fancy way of saying send them something to post on social media and like a little snippet, 2 to 3 sentences. Like I say, super likely that they'll share it for you. And finally, the 6th piece of content. So now we have our blog, right? We have the original blog post. We have the video tour of the city. We have the series, which is actually more than one piece of content that we're going to post on Facebook once a week, highlighting individually each business or company that we wrote about in our original blog post. We're going to do an interview with someone from the business or company of one of the date night locations that we mentioned. That's number 4. We're going to host a giveaway. That's number 5. And finally, number 6 is to involve other vendors. Bring 3 to 5 of your vendor friends along for the ride by getting their opinion on a favorite date night activity. This would be fun. If you could do a dual Instagram live, you guys could both get on Clubhouse, the new social media app. I want to shout out my friend Megan Gillikin from Weddings for Real for introducing me to Clubhouse. I don't know much about Clubhouse. Let me just have full disclosure with you right now. Don't know much about it. Have not been on it yet, but am exploring it. But you could get live on Instagram. You could get live on Facebook. You could go live on Clubhouse with some of your vendor friends just to talk about this for your couples. Now, I will say for something like Clubhouse, it's brand new. Our couples are not there yet. Let's be real. It is, from what I've explored, it is truly just other vendors. But I mention it just to share that it's okay to keep an eye on the future and see what might be working for you and your couples in the future. But really quick disclaimer, if we're speaking specifically about Clubhouse right now, your couples are not there. So don't waste your time promoting to couples. It's a great way to build relationship though with other vendors. So if that's what you're looking to do, and we're talking about repurposing content, then it might be beneficial for you to look into. Okay. I hope that was enough caveats. You know how shiny object syndrome just gets me, and I'm really trying not to do that this year. So that is one of the first repurposing content and making your content go the extra mile for you and for your business. That is one of the first 2021 marketing trends that will continue that I got from NetHunt, and I could not agree more. One of the other ones on their list I thought was really interesting, and the title of it was Creativity is Evergreen. And what they said is that we need to rise above the digital pollution. Creating the same content and using the same distribution channels as those around you will not bring success. I'm going to say that one more time. This is from nethunt.com, so I want to give them full credit. creating the same content and using the same distribution channels as those around you won't bring success. That just punched me straight in the gut. And it is so true. If you are doing the same thing that you were in 2020 or 2019, if you are doing the same thing as the vendor down the road from you or across the state or in another town, it's not going to help you rise above the digital pollution, as NetHunt refers to it, which I think is incredible. It really just, kicks that point into high gear. And I think we need to continue to be inspired to find new strategies so that we can stay ahead of the curve. Because when we get ahead of the curve, all of the other people who are competing with you are going to look to you, but they're always going to be a step behind you. So it's important to find new and unique ways to share content, to share with your couples, to market your business. The same old is not going to work, especially after the year that we've had. A lot has changed just in society, socially, and things of that nature. And I'll talk about that. I'm going to give you some really creative ways to market your business in one of these upcoming episodes. But that is one of their top predictions for 2021 is that, listen, you have got to rise above the digital pollution or your business is going to flounder. So I mentioned when I was sharing that full repurposing content example with you that it also fed directly into one of the 2021 marketing predictions that HubSpot.com shared. And they shared content marketing will start with conversations. And I love this because this full repurposing example that I shared with you directly out of the content creation bundle on my website is a conversation. It is an entire conversation. Yes, we started with a pillar piece of content that I called a blog post that you type with your fingers. That's what I mean. But it carried into conversations. It carried into more of an experiential marketing for your clients, for your couples and potential couples. And that's one of the predictions that HubSpot makes. They say the content marketing playbook we've been using is at least 2 decades old. Marketers are still focusing on keyword-heavy blog posts as the main tactic to captivate their audience. But it's a strategy made for Google and not for people. Today, your audience wants to have an authentic experience with your brand, and the best way to do that is by leading with conversations. Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you to HubSpot. You can find this at HubSpot.com. And again, I will link to this exact blog post in the show notes of this episode. You have got to start with conversations. Our couples want to know that we are humans. They want to have a human-centric experience with our wedding business. And I believe as wedding professionals, we're actually incredible at this. Our entire business is about creating relationships, regardless of which vendor category you serve. Our business is about creating relationships because we work so closely with people on a very emotional time in their life. And I mean that, I don't mean that in a mean way. I don't mean like, oh my God, they're so emotional. I mean, it's an emotional and very heavy time, right? It's their wedding. It's not a birthday party, you guys. This is not like somebody's 25th birthday that nobody cares about. This is the wedding day. And we create relationships not just with our couples, but with each other, with vendors, with our couples' parents. So we are all about relationships. And I think that if we could take that exact feeling and insert into our marketing, the feeling of having conversations, of sharing the information that people really need in a conversational, human-centric way, we're going to see our marketing explode and we're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of our competitors in this area. And if you are just getting started with content marketing, listen, I totally get it. I think there's a lot to be said for consistency. So if a lot of this is like, oh my gosh, like I have barely posted, I'm not even blogging anymore. I haven't been since 2018. I'm not doing any conversations at all. I barely am on Instagram. That's okay. There's a lot to be said for consistency. And I think starting to be consistent is a great way to move your muscle, right? So having a marketing strategy is just like building a muscle group. You have to consistently do it. It's all about habit. And I think if you could just get consistent with it first, you could move into stuff like this that we're talking about today. So one of the other things that HubSpot said that was actually a trend that they think they're going to see, but they think is a huge mistake, is companies decreasing their marketing budgets and shrinking their marketing teams. They're setting themselves up for failure, according to HubSpot. And I could not agree more. And I think this is really accurate when it comes to our wedding businesses. A lot of times it's funny because when we see things like a pandemic, when we see things that shake up the business industry, people will cut their sales and marketing budgets because because they think that's not what they need. But the opposite but that couldn't be further from the truth. When your business is struggling, what you need is exposure and sales, right? We all need revenue to keep our business floating. So sales and marketing should be the last two things that we cut. And now listen, if you don't have an exact marketing budget, at least your time, right? In marketing and business, you can spend time or money or both. So if you are someone who's spending your time on your marketing, do not cut your time on your marketing. It's going to result in failure for you. And it is not the time to do that. You have to accelerate your business. You have to take this transformation that we all just went through and keep pushing forward, because people need to know about your business, and the best marketer wins. Remember that. One of the other trends that I read comes from a company called socialmediatoday.com. And this article that they wrote, a very smart article, 7 digital marketing trends of focus for 2021. Interestingly enough, number one has a lot to do with an app like Clubhouse or Facebook Live, but they're saying live streams and an increase in influencer content. I cannot imagine more influencer content right now. And maybe that's because I am always looking at what other people are doing. So I like to see what influencers do in the lifestyle marketing space. I like to see what influencers are doing in the home and living space. And so I feel like there is a lot of influencer content. But when I read that, I thought, that's really interesting. And I feel like they are really speaking to more micro influencers. So that's you. You're a micro influencer in your local market, in the market that you serve in the wedding industry. You are a micro influencer to your couples and potential couples. And I think that if we started thinking about ourselves like this more, that our marketing would up level. And so Social Media Today really believes that live streams and an increase in influencer content is really going to be something that consumers crave, because it's human driven. So I know that getting on camera is hard and it feels awkward sometimes, but I believe that it's one of the things we've got to do. And you and I have been talking about this for a couple of years now. If you're not on the camera train, if you're not on the video train, and listen, I don't do well at this either. I've got the gaps in my posting schedule to prove it. If we're not on the train, we got to, let's sit next to each other and let's get moving. I think that there's a lot of good to be done with people like you who are running incredible businesses, who care about your couples, who care about this industry, and who want to see it succeed and thrive again. So let's think about that, right? You don't have to do it today, but just think about it. Social Media Today says live streams and influencer content is on the rise in 2021 still, and that's you. So one of the other things that they said, and this is probably not a surprise to you at all, but is an emphasis on sustainability. So as our couples become more Gen Z, as our couples are become more socially focused, the hunt for kind of greener planet continues, and consumers are seeking brands that are purpose-driven and conscious about the environment. And I think this is some place that we can all really capitalize on and all really start to think about, because you've been at a wedding at the end and it's a very wasteful event. As a venue, oh my gosh, we could do a whole episode on that, right? There is so much waste at a wedding. It is bonkers to me. We have a whole plan around our trash. I'm not kidding you. We dispose of this is just a side story. We dispose of all of our trash for our couples and our vendors. We don't make caterers do it or anything like that. And we have to have a whole plan around it. And every year we talk about, okay, what's going to be the plan for our trash? Where are we going to put it? Do we need a new dumpster? It's crazy how much time we spend talking about our trash. That's kind of just a funny side story. I'm sorry, this may not be relevant to you, but that is how much waste is created in our industry. And we're just one little venue in Colorado. So an emphasis on sustainability. I think the wedding professionals who can really figure this out, and here's the kicker, really make it part of your messaging in a genuine way, because that's who you want to be as a business. That's who you want to be as a business owner. I think we're really going to see some wins from those people. There are some great influencers in the wedding industry. Their name is escaping my mind right now, but there are some incredible folks who are already specializing in sustainable weddings, in waste-free weddings. I know that there's some waste-free venues out there. So those are the folks to look to and to be encouraged by, because they are ahead of that trend. Yeah. Of course, inclusivity will be key. This became a huge focus in 2020. Our industry has a a long way to go. I don't know everything. I'm certainly not the person to teach you about it. There are many other people out there doing a 1,000 times better job than I could ever do. But I think it's really important that we continue to move towards that in a really meaningful way in an industry where, to put it very mildly, has not been the case. Let's just say that. I'll leave it there because, again, I am not the teacher on this. I am 100% the student. So that is just another trend that socialmediatoday.com is predicting for 2021. And I believe that has a lot of value when it comes to marketing and just becoming a better human, learning more about ourselves, learning more about our couples, serving a broader audience, being welcoming, being inclusive, etc. Again, I'm not the teacher on this, so please don't take that as advice. That's all just things that I'm trying to do. I am the student. I hope you'll join me in being a student, or if you have resources that you want to share with me because you consider yourself a teacher in that category, I'm very much open to that. What else did they talk about that I thought was really brilliant? Interestingly enough, so HubSpot predicted, so even though they predicted that companies might try to shrink their marketing teams, they did predict that digital marketing spend would continue to grow. So there's there's a gap, according to Bridget Perry from Contentful, between customers' demand and what brands are currently capable of delivering. And so that's why they want to up their ad spend and up their marketing spend a lot, by about 25% in 2021. So she says that CMOs who aren't scaling up their digital spending will soon be outpaced by competitors. I don't want that to scare you off. Again, the reason I look outside of the industry for marketing trends is because they are a bit of ahead of us, right? So this will trickle down to us. So don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm not spending any money on ads. Am I going to be outpaced? I don't think so. Not in the wedding industry, certainly not in 2021, but you will be outpaced if you're not the best marketer. The end. So like I said, you can spend time, money, or both. Listen to me. If you don't have money to spend on ads, you have got to roll up your sleeves and get dirty. Sorry. Please don't get dirty. I don't mean you need to be like a jerk. What I mean is you need to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. Let's insert that. Let's insert that hands word, right? You need to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and really start to promote this business. You have got to be selling every single day. There is a marketer out there named Chris Ducker who I greatly respect and admire. And he says, you have got to be seen to sell. I'm going to say it again, Chris Ducker, you have got to be seen to sell. Remember that in 2021. If you are not being seen, if you are not the best marketer you can be, nobody knows you exist. Can I tell you a story really quick about that, about my wedding venue? And I'm not doing everything right, but this story will illustrate what I mean. So we are pretty much sold out for 2021. We have 3 to 4 weddings every single weekend. I'm only open 6 months out of the year. You know that. We have a handful of dates left in September and October, and that's it. They're Fridays or Sundays. And here's the thing. I'm open 6 months out of the year. I am an hour and 20 minutes from the biggest city. It's called Grand Junction. And when a couple from Grand Junction drives to my venue, they have to pass another town. And in that town is another wedding venue that's beautiful. We love it. Great family over there. Amazing, right? They have to pass that town to come to my wedding venue, and I'm an hour and 20 minutes away from them. And an experience that I've had multiple times, especially over the last 6-7 months, is that, listen, I'm so sorry, we're sold out. We don't have any Saturdays left. Here's what I have in October, like May through August, completely booked. But I'm referring these other venues. And one of these venues is in the town that these couples have to pass to get to me. And I'm like, have you checked out XYZ venue? They may have available dates. And they're like, oh, no, we didn't even know about them. What is that called again? So of course I send them the referral list and they book with them. So number one, you're welcome to that venue. But number two, you guys, that is the power of marketing. That is the power of marketing. Literally these couples, it's just geography. They have to drive through this town where this venue exists to even come to me. I'm an hour and 20 minutes away from them versus 25 minutes like this other venue, and they have no idea it exists. That is the power of marketing. That's just a simple example. Again, I am not doing everything right. I am still learning every single day. But if I could tell you one thing, that if you are the better marketer, you will win. And that tiny little example, I hope will encourage you. One of the other one of the other trends that I see from I'm going to go back to NetHunt.com, and this is interesting because we talk about this a lot, but it's kind of hard, right? It's hard in our industry. I'm going to do an episode about this in the future. Maybe we can get more on the train with this, but they say that a fresh look for emails is on the rise in 2021. And so what they're saying is that people tend to receive structured emails once a week based around their interests. And what are they saying here? I felt like I understood this, but maybe I actually don't. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was like, I'm sorry. Was that a completely different point that I totally missed? So what they're saying is that your distribution channels, when it comes to email and when it comes to what your emails look like, need to be more captivating. So traditional is that I'm going to send an email once a week. I'm going to put in some random information. Maybe I'm just going to do a recap of all the stuff that I've published, and that'll be good enough. But what happens is that people get distracted online, right? So you opened up an email in your inbox, and then all of a sudden you're on Wikipedia looking up like the latest Downton Abbey episode, or the past Downton Abbey episode. Did anybody else watch that series? Because I did, and I loved it. And so what they're saying is that we need to start to think about how to deliver that content, how to distribute our emails. And if you don't have an email list that you are consistently getting in touch with, that's okay. You can start this year. It's still the beginning of the year. You haven't lost out on anything. And like I said, I don't think that consistent email delivery is something that our industry has really been doing. What I hear a lot in our industry when it comes to email marketing is that our clients have a lifespan, and that I don't want to email my clients because eventually they're not my clients anymore. And I say the same thing to that every single time, and I'm going to say it again. Stop assigning behavior to your clients, your potential clients, your past clients, your future clients. If they decide to get on your email list because you have some sort of freebie on your website, whether it be a checklist, a wedding planner, top 10 ways to address your invitations, how to do calligraphy, whatever it is, I don't care, how to hire the best DJ, whatever you are doing on your website to get people on your email list, be emailing them consistently, but give it a fresh look, give it a fresh distribution, switch it up for 2021, and also don't assign behavior to them. If they want to unsubscribe, they are fully welcome to do so. If you want to make yourself feel better about it, you could send an email once a month to your list to say, hey, if you hate receiving this email, go ahead and click this button right here, and it will automatically unsubscribe them. There's lots of ways to get around those feelings, and I feel like that's really just kind of imposter syndrome when people say, oh, but our clients have a life cycle and they're not, they're only with us for like 12 months. So email list isn't the same as other industries. Duh. Email list isn't the same for any industry. We're all different industries, but let your client decide what they need. It's okay to email them. They can decide if they want to unsubscribe. And like I said, if you want to make yourself feel better about it, send that, hey, unsubscribe here email once a month, once a quarter, and also clean your list. Because if people do want to unsubscribe, you don't want to have to pay for them, right? So you're welcome. You save money and you get people off your list and you feel better about yourself because you are not sending information to people who do not want it. And so finally, one of the last, there's multiple in all of these blog posts that I'm going to share, you guys. And like I said, they're going to be in the show notes. But one of the final ones that I want to share with you, and I think this is really interesting, is that community marketing, this is from HubSpot.com, community marketing will replace event-based marketing. So we all know there's always in all industries, and especially in the wedding industry, there's those huge annual conferences, right? We've seen them all. We've been to them. I certainly miss in-person events right now, but there's annual conferences. There's a ton of marketing and hoopla around those annual conferences, not only from the organizers, but from the speakers. They become a big deal and you feel like you're missing out if you don't attend. And next thing you know, you're spending $2,500 on a ticket. But what HubSpot is saying, what Adam Mazur actually said, who's the VP of Credly, is that he predicts that more intimate and more topical online get-togethers will be the thing for 2021. So experts with verified digital credentials and a willingness to share will be highly valued virtual community leaders and influencers. So as I record this, we are still, like I said at the beginning, we're still in lockdown. We're still having COVID effects. We're not completely out of the woods. We're not just, running around openly without masks, right? And so we all have a little bit of virtual event, virtual webinar fatigue, but it's not going to go anywhere in 2021. And so what Adam Azure of Credly is saying is that if we can see people really make these experiences more intimate, more topical, have a willingness to share, and really really provide that high value for online community and really bring people into that niche value, that we'll see some success there in 2021. How does that relate to the wedding industry? For those of you who are educators in the industry, inside or outside of the industry, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's so easy to think about ways to educate people when it comes to the B2B side of things. When it comes to the B2C side of things, business to client, it's a little more challenging, right? How do we do community marketing for our clients? One of the ways you can do community marketing for your clients is to think about creating a space for them to speak with each other. That's one of the ways you can do community marketing. Now, that's scary for a lot of wedding pros, because when you create a space like that, obviously they've all had contact with you. So you really have to be on your A game, right? Because we don't want to hear it can be hard to hear criticism of our business and things of that nature. So it can be challenging. It's a scary, I don't have a community for couples. It can be challenging to think about creating one, but that's one way community marketing could benefit your business. I was just talking about this yesterday on a webinar I did for WIPA. When you become a person, you don't even have to be in there really, but when you become a person who creates a safe space for others to share about their life experiences, you are instantly elevated in that person and anybody who joins that space in their mind. Oprah made an entire career out of it. This podcast is proof of that, interviewing other people, genuinely caring about their experience and creating a safe space for them to tell their story, to share their feelings, to ask questions, to learn, to teach, to be taught, is an incredible way to build community. And that is a marketing tool for your business. So like I said, opening up yourself and your business to creating a space where couples may not be the answer for you, but there may be communities that already exist where you could go and be useful. And I don't mean pop into Facebook groups that are supposed to be for couples, pretending to be a couple, and then boom, promoting your business. That's not what I'm saying. So please do not do that. But what I am saying is, how can you be useful to the people who are already in community with one another? One of the places that I've been lurking recently is Reddit. There are a lot of subreddits about weddings, about wedding questions. Oh my, you guys, if you need content for your business, go read the subreddits on weddings and read people's questions, and you're going to have content until you die. There's so much information, but that's already a community, right? Like, that's a subculture. And if you just go in there as someone who's there to help and answer questions, you don't have to say, "Hi, my name is Kinsey. I'm the owner of Vista View Events. Let me give you my professional opinion on this venue question." Just pop in there as someone as Kinsey, as Sally, as Bill, and say, "That's a great question. Here's what I think," and move on. That's a way to get into that community marketing space, and maybe get your feet wet and see if you like it. And you might think, yeah, it would be kind of scary to have my own community of couples that I could serve in an online capacity, whether it be a Facebook group, whether it be a Slack channel. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know if that's something that would be valuable for your business, but anyway. That is it for the trend report in 2021. There is a ton more out there. I'm going to link to all of these blog posts in the show notes, and we'll keep talking about marketing throughout 2021. I don't like to make predictions because I am a student of all of this, just like you are. I think it's kind of funny when people are like, "Let me tell you the predictions for 2021, especially after the year that we've had. Like, I think the mantra is for last year of 2020 was like, hashtag didn't see that coming, laugh out loud. So I think, when I see people like, "Let me tell you what the trends are going to be," I'm like, yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I contributed to an article where I did a few trends, and I think what I said about those trends, one was around decor, and I specifically for venues like my style, I think that we'll see more refined nature. Shout out to Renee Sabo for that term. And then I also said, the only trend that I think will continue in 2021 and 2022 that I feel confident making a prediction on is just that people have had a lot of time to figure out what is important and what is not important to them. We're already seeing this with wedding plans for 2021 couples that had been booked, even pre-COVID. And so what I think we'll see with those folks is more intention. I think they're going to have more time to do consultations, to do tours, and we all have to be on our A game because they are wanting to have a wedding that truly reflects who they are. And a lot of you are already working in a space like this, but some of us are working in a space where people just pick from the vendor guide list that you give them and they move on. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a trend away from that. I think couples are definitely still going to take our recommendations, don't get me wrong, but they're going to be thorough, they're going to be thoughtful, and they want that human-centric experience. So you better be putting your face, or at least your human heart in one way or another, whether it's your face, your team's face, doesn't matter. Your human heart, your business's heart on the line when it comes to marketing. So you can see that success in business that we all want. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, I will do my very best to answer them. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I am at She Creates Business. If you are interested in the content creation bundle, it is just $67. You can find it at shecreatesbusiness.podcast.com. It's in the marketing shop. It has the full 6 step-by-step roadmap of the repurposing content funnel that I shared with you today. It has 2 others and a bunch of other goodies. It has 180 social media prompts, 365 blog topics. And when I say blog, when it comes to those topics, I mean, sure, you can blog with your fingertips, you can podcast, you can YouTube, you can be on Clubhouse, that crazy app that nobody knows anything about except for people, not me. Anyway, give me a shout, you guys, if y'all have any questions. And if this is your first time here, thanks again for joining us. If this is not your first time here, but you're an Apple user, if you have a few seconds to leave this podcast a review, I would surely appreciate it. Reviews on Apple tell Apple that this is valuable content and it helps other wedding professionals find the show. And I would just appreciate that so much. So if you've listened to the episode for the show for a while, you like what you've heard, and you have a few seconds to leave a review on Apple, I would sure appreciate that. Thank you so very much. And if you just joined me today, don't leave a review yet, because even if you liked this episode, you don't know if you like the full show. So stick with me for a couple of episodes. I'll have a brand new episode out next week. So subscribe to get that notification. And I'll see you guys then. Hope you have a great day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thanks for joining me for this trends episode today based on what other people are saying. And let's have a great year.
Thank you so much for listening to She Creates Business. Please take a minute and head to iTunes to leave an honest review so we can help more wedding pros find the show.